So actually, I got my first Synthex when it has been released in the early 80s, and I'm using it. I'm using it since. Even during my last tour, actually, I had I think I had 2 Synthex, and in total, I'm very privileged to say that I have 3 Synthex working. The Synthex since became one of my favorite instruments, almost like a fetish. I have almost a fetishist approach with these instruments. I would say the same as I have with the VCA3. It's my 2, one monophonic, one polyphonic. And obviously the album Rendez-vous is, I used a lot of the Synthex with my friend Paul Wiffen. We also actually did some sounds, especially for this album, and the famous sound of the my laser harp is coming from the Synthex, and I'm still using the Synthex live on stage to trigger the to be triggered by the laser harp. I think that, you know, there is always a kind of love story with instruments, or love affair with instruments, and in case of the Synthex, probably being French also, I mean, there is a kind of Latin flavor or something which is very, very special to the sound. The fatness, the brightness, the power of this instrument made it really instantly, I would say, like a pet, a techno pet. And I've been really since influenced, because it's always a dialogue between instruments and inspiration and for musicians. And actually, I think that, you know, it's always what you do that you make understands where you go. And the Synthex, I mean, allowed me to also develop something I had in mind with electronic music, this kind of epic, symphonic type of sounds that you had probably with the modular Moog before, such as Walter Wendy Carlos used for Switch on Bar or Clockwork Orange. I mean, this kind of deep, mad, classical approach of polyphonic synthesizer. When I first heard about the great scoop that the Synthex could be back, I think, wow, I had 2 reactions. First one, a very selfish one, saying, wow, it's going to be great, because I don't know how long my own is going to and are going to last. And to get a new one is very exciting. And the second one is also the idea that I think it's great to share in a kind of legacy process, to share with the young kids and young generations what a real polyphonic synthesizer sounds. Because these days we think that plugins, for instance, can compete with analog synthesizers and especially polyphonic. Monophonic is different, but polyphonic is something else. And even if you have great and brilliant plugins, it's not the same as the pure hardware piece.